Hello again, YouTubers. Okay, so today we've got 2015 Renault Scenic. And problem that we've got with this is a parasitic drain. Customer leaves the car no more than overnight and it goes flat. So we're just using an old school method here. We've got the battery disconnected from the car, but we've got an ammeter, old trusty ammeter from years gone by. That's telling us we've got a drain of 4 amps. Now that is pretty huge. An interior light is about half an amp. So just to show you how we've got this set up, we've got the doors closed on the latch, so the car thinks that the doors are shut. That will enable us to get in and out of the car. Now we have to wait for it to go to sleep. It takes about half an hour. Also, we have to leave it overnight for the car to actually get cold, because what we're going to be using is a thermal imaging camera. A thermal imaging camera is really accurate at showing where heat comes from. I'll show you some examples later how accurate it is. And what we're going to do, we're going to thermal image the interior of the car and the engine bay and everywhere else to see if we can spot where the current is drawing, because anything that draws current will create heat, a tiny little bit of heat, but you'd be amazed at how the camera picks it up. So just to recap, we've left it overnight for the engine to cool, because it will glow for hours and hours. Even if you sit on a seat, it will glow for ages. The battery is connected through an ammeter. We can see how many amps we've got, 4 amps. So let's connect up a thermal imaging camera and get some pictures. Okay, thermal imaging camera is on. We're using a FLIR thermal imaging camera onto the iPhone. Now you can see just that 4 amps, that's my hand, that's the heat of the hand, and you can see the heat of the 4 amps going through the multimeter. I'm actually waving my finger in front now, so you can see it picks up the hottest part. So sometimes you put something really hot in front, it will make it look cool, but take that away again and it'll display correctly. It takes a bit of getting used to. You can actually see the current going through the cables, okay? Now, Renault, in their infinite wisdom, have got the world's worst fuse boxes here. To get an image of the fuses is really difficult, because you have to hold it and it picks up the heat of my hand, so I can't really see if there's any heat coming out of those from those fuses there. So you can have something like the alternator shorting out. There's not much heat there. If I put my hand in front, you'll see it glow down. Looking for anything which is really hot. These are reflections there of pipes, so we're not really interested in them. But here's the interesting bit. Let's go and look in the car now. There's the heat of my roller shutter door. So now we're going to concentrate on the car and let's see what we've got. Starting from this side, we can see nothing on that heater grill, but we have got some heat right over there. You can see the instrument panel display is not hot. The other things are the CD player is not hot, but look at those 2 vents, those 2 heater vents. It's almost like the heater's on. Now this car hasn't been driven overnight, so we've got some reflections there. Ignore the reflections. Let's go down to the heater box, and again, we can see under there, there's a nice warm glow. So let's go around the other side, just to show you some examples of how good thermal imaging is. We're going to open this door up and we're going to have a look again down here, and you can see some heat glowing. Now if I just put my hand on the dash here just for a few seconds and take it off, you can see the imprint of my hand. Now, it's not that I've got really hot hands, but that is how accurate a thermal imaging camera is. See, if I put my hand in front with the current heat, it doesn't look that amazing, but my hand was on there for just a few seconds and it's still registering the heat of my hand. It's amazing, isn't it? So it would look like we have a big glow coming from under there, coming from the heater matrix. Now, we've let the car go to sleep because I opened the door and woke it up. Now, we're still on 4 amps. Now, 4 amps is quite huge. This is what I was saying about the fuse box being an absolute pain to get to check fuses. But what the old school way of checking this is, and what we're going to be doing today, is one by one taking out those fuses and seeing if the amps drop down, and then we'll know which circuit the problem is on. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be something to do with that heater matrix, heater resistor, AC control module, something like that. Let's start pulling these out. I would do it on camera, but I need two hands. I'm going to see what I come up with. I've pulled every single fuse out of this box and we still get 4 amps. So now we have to move to the internal fuse box. In the glove box, up in here, we have the other fuse box. I'm going to do the same test on here. Well, actually, I'm going to look on Autodata first. I'm going to see which one is for the heater to save me pulling them all out, and then see if we get less than 4 amps, see if it drops down. So, according to Autodata, this fuse here may well be the culprit. So we'll start with that one, and then we'll see which other ones we've got. Nope, wasn't that one. So, with the aid of Autodata, we can either search for it, or we can just scroll over, and we can see that 40 amp one there, AC heater system. Let's pull that one out. You're gonna be a big one. She 40 amp, she big girl. So the 40 amp one, yes, of course, it's right up there, and we can't get it with this good old Renault glove box in, just to give it a quick pull. What a incredibly stupid design. Well done, Renault, you've excelled yourself yet again. We'll have to whip this glove box out to do a bit more testing, so let's get that out. Right, so I've just pulled off this door seal. I just pulled away this door seal here. There's a plastic cover here that, yeah, of course the clips didn't come out right. There's a screw there, a screw there. This piece of trim, black plastic trim, just simply pops off. Not. It does just pop off, but it's just not simply. There's a row of screws across here now to take out. We should be able to get this glove box out. Does anybody else here hate Renault? Yeah, I bet you all do. Right, so once you've got those screws out, you'll find it's really stubborn over this corner, and you'll be looking for a clip. You'll be looking for a clip or a screw down that corner. Well, what it is, there's a pinch clip, whatever you want to call it, from behind. And what you have to do is literally, at the point of having all the screws out, you just give it a really good, hard, firm yank, which I've already done, and out it comes. So just to show you on the back side, those, I'm going to call them pinch clips. I don't know what to call them. That is all that holds it in on the right-hand side. So there's the glove box out. We can now get access to two things. We can do more thermal imaging on the heater box where that heat is coming from, and we can now get to the 40 amp fuse just to see if it drops the current. So let's get that out. Please. And we're going to take that fuse out. So 40 amp fuse is now out. Let's see what the current goes down to. Oh dear, still at 4 amps. So it's not that fuse. You can pop that back in. Now there's plenty of other tools where you can measure the current going through the fuse, but I'm going to keep this simple and just use simple tools that most people have got kicking about. On a closer inspection, I took the wrong fuse out. I should have took the third one down out. So holding my torch like so, with the pliers again, I'm going to take the correct fuse out, which according to Autodata is for the heater. And let's check the current again. Oh! Always remember, this is really important when you're working on fuses and fuse boxes. If you take a fuse out, for the love of God, make sure you put it back, straight back in the same hole as you got it out of. Don't have a visit from the fuse fairies. Switching back to the thermal imaging, this is what I'm using. It's a FLIR something or other thermal imaging camera that goes into an iPhone. You get them for Android, iPhone, all the other ones. They make their own standalone cameras, but as you can see, the one that goes on the iPhone really is good, really cheap. Won't be without it. So back with the thermal imaging again. You can see the heat just from my torch there. Let's turn that off. And getting under the heater box, you can see something under there is glowing away. It's really, really hot. Right, moving up to the dash, getting to the back of the, what would that be? That would be the back of the AC panel itself. It could be that glowing. It's hard to tell, but that's going to be where our problem lies. Something in there. So what we could do, we could have a look what's about with a boroscope. There's definitely some heat right down there. So I'm going to take a few more fuses out and I'm going to see what drops the current, and then we are going to see what we can find. Silly me, what I meant to show you with the thermal imaging was first to see if any of these are glowing. Let's just add that in. Oh, by the way, there's also another couple of fuses up here. Didn't actually know they were there till I took the glove box out. Thermal time again. This here, what I'm pointing to, are the relays and the fuses. Now, as you can see, none of those fuses are showing any heat. So, it's calibrating. So, I don't think that whatever the parasitic drain is goes through that fuse box or the underhood fuse box, which is unusual. But as you can see, something under there. I mean, it looks shocking on the camera, but the reality is it's only a few degrees of heat, but 4 amps is quite a lot. So I'm gonna be poking around in there, and when I find something, if I find something, I will report back. Right, quite some time has gone on. I've done a bit more stripping out. Back to the thermal imaging. Now I've got another cover off here. This is what you can see with the naked eye, and let's see what you can see with thermal imaging. Right, that's what we can see with thermal imaging. As you can see, the live cables that are going to that control module up there are really, really glowing. So that is the source of our heat. It's also glowing up here, so something in that unit there would appear to be our problem. So let's get some things disconnected and see what we find now. Right, so finally we're getting somewhere. Now I've disconnected in turn these cables here, and with this one disconnected, make sure we don't short it on anything, and we check the ammeter. We are down to 0.01 amps. So we've found the source of the drain. It is drawing current, would appear, from this cable into this module. It's, I think it's some type of preheater module. I'm going to do a bit of checking because I am not sure. That may be the resistor. I'm going to have a little look at that. I'm going to pull that out and see what's going on with it. I should mention, these cables, or this module, is actually hot to the touch. You can actually feel the heat on it. So quite confident that this is the problem. Okay, so I've disconnected the 2 screws that hold this unit in. It's not the resistor that you may be familiar with. Now, I don't know much about Renaults. I don't get to work on Renaults very often, thankfully. This unit is some type of preheater, a heater matrix preheater, heat exchanger, not sure what you call it. I'm sure you can leave me some comments down below and educate me a bit more. To get it out, to inspect it further, typical Renault style, we've got to take out so much stuff. It's not going to be cost effective. This customer is on a budget. He just wants the flat battery gone. So what the plan is to not connect this wire back up. I'm going to thoroughly insulate it with some heat shrink, put it out of the way somewhere so it's not going to short on anything. That's the last thing we want, is this main cable, because it'll carry a hell of a lot of current if it does short out on something. So we're going to isolate that. We're going to put it back together. We're going to make sure everything runs. This heater isn't going to be as great, but if he wants us to fix it properly, it's going to be an expensive one. So for now, we're just going to put that back, isolate it, and see what happens. But before we do that, what we're going to do is run a scan on the car. So I've got the wire down there reconnected. It's back on. It's basically as when the customer brought us the car, and I'm going to do a code scan first and make sure that we don't introduce any fault codes by disconnecting that cable. We don't have any fault codes for the preheater unit, but the UPC unit already has this code, so I'm not worried if that code comes back when we disconnect. But what we don't want to see is any new code coming up on here, or something else not working, because I don't actually know what the other cables do. I believe that's something to do with the preheat unit. I will check before the customer goes out, but for testing purposes and for a temporary repair, let's disconnect that now and see what problems we get with that disconnected, if there is any. So I've just cleared all the fault codes. Should say, sorry, cable is now disconnected, battery is now on. What I really need to do is do a start cycle with the car, make sure it starts, and read the fault codes, see if the battery's flat. So there it runs. Let's check the handbrake. Handbrake works. Need to check all the electrics are all working. Everything seems to work. Any error messages on? Oh, there's the dash. Yeah, no messages on the dash, so let's switch it off. So we've done a start cycle. Ignition back on, and let's see if we've got any new fault codes. Well, preheating unit diagnostic connection fault alerted via the control unit. That's to be expected. We're going to leave that code in there, and we're going to see if it causes any issues. At least the customer can use the car again until we fix it properly. Right, I think that will have to do. We'll have to just put this back together, let the customer have it. Any insights, please leave us a comment if you know anything about these. Tell us what you would do if your customer's on a budget and he wants the car back. Would you just go ahead and change that unit and charge him a load of money? Probably write the car off? Or would you make a temporary or a cowboy repair? No, not a cowboy repair. What should we call it? An economically viable repair to, or an economically restrained repair to get him back on the road. At least he can have his car back tomorrow and then think about whether he wants it fixing properly. But let's get it together and see what the downfalls of not having that unit connected are. Right, as you can see, I put some really thick industrial grade heat shrink on there. It comes with an adhesive as well, so you can bond things right down. So that's not going to short out on anything. I'm going to tuck it up nice and safe and out of the way there, so it won't short on anything. Even if it rattles about, it's not going to braid through. I get this little puppy back together and see what happens next. And we're back from a test drive. So, just been out for a good long test drive. Everything is working. The heater still works. It blows out okay heat. I've just turned it up on the drive. No problems at all. So it's back to having like a manual heater. All the controls work. Everything works. I can't see that the preheater unit has any other function apart from the preheater. So the other cable's coming off. I don't have a wiring diagram to check. I'd love to know more about it. So please do leave comments if you know more about this system. Final thoughts, yeah, I think the customer should be happy with this. It's not how I like to repair cars, by just disconnecting something, but customer is on a severe budget. Judging by what's left of his tyres, he ain't gonna have a lot of money left soon. So what do I think of Renaults? They're absolutely horrible to work on. Yep, don't like them at all. As somebody once said, they grow on you like a wart. I'm just gonna do the parasitic drain test one more time just to show you how to set that up if you need to do it. So let's get under the bonnet. So To begin with, what we need to do is disconnect the battery terminal. You can use either the negative. I used to use the negative a lot, but I use the positive if it's easier to get to. It doesn't matter. So disconnect the battery terminal, and you need to run your ammeter or amp meter, set to amps, through, the battery current needs to go through the ammeter. So I'll put some mole grips on just to get a connection there. Now, the reason I've got this extra cable is initially the car needs to go to sleep, and as I was testing it earlier, it was drawing more than 10 amps, so it would blow the fuse in the ammeter. So I put this extra cable on, so before it went to sleep, you can see we've got about 6 amps. Well, that's okay, I can leave that now. But if you find that you've got an amp draw of more than 10 when the car's trying to shut down, you need to get it to go to sleep. So how to do that is to open the doors, because we are going to need to get access to there. We need to shut the latches. So they're shut. Remember, the door will not shut, it will just bang if you try and close it. So remember that when you're working on the car, because that catches me out quite a bit. Those doors are now shut, by the computer's mind it is. Now what we have to do is have the ignition off and just wait for everything to go out. We have to wait for this to go to sleep, and you'll see all the lights will be gone and it'll be sleep mode. It can take up to 20 minutes. I think because we don't have the parasitic drain now, we can take our little jumper wire off. Yeah, we're at 3.75 amps. So I'm quite happy to take my little jumper cable off, and we'll come back when it's gone to sleep. Okay, it's been about 20-25 minutes. We can see everything is now off in the car. It is sleeping. And now we check the ammeter. On amps, 0. So we've got literally nothing being drawn out of that battery. Reason why we have to have everything in sleep mode is because if you just try and do the parasitic drain check and you wake the car up, and I can wake it up easily just by opening the door handle, you'll see now it's woken up. And straight away, because it's awake, we've got 6 amps. So yeah, that's a parasitic drain. Final thoughts on the thermal camera. Let me just show you that. Thermal camera is now back on, and the reason we leave it overnight is, if you can see the heat of that engine, that doesn't cool down in 1 or 2 hours. That really does need all night to settle down. And if we try to jump in too quick to do thermal imaging, everything will just be hot. The screens, the heat events from where I checked earlier, the CD player, everything like that. So it really does need an overnight sit, preferably with it all connected up on the ammeter first if your battery will allow it. Right, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.